Hi guys, this is Neil at Italia Autos here, and this week I'm going to be working on my own car, my 145 Cloverleaf. Unfortunately, I have broken it. Only a little fault, nothing too serious. October, when we had all the rain, I was all the way up in Derby, and the A38 was blocked, which is the main road back to where I live. So I decided to go through all the lanes, just as it was peeing it down all day. So yeah, I had to drive through quite a bit of flood water. Little girl got me all the way home, no problem. Some quite deep flood water. There were 4x4s turning around and going the other way, but the little 145 got all the way through it. Didn't have any issues coming home. I know that I have adapted the airbox so it's not as low as normal, so it's not sucked up any water. But the following day, went to use the vehicle and just clicked when you turn the car. So 99% sure the starter motor had gone, so just left it on my drive for a few months, knowing it was winter and I wasn't going to use it anyway. So I now need to make space in my driveway for my new daily, which I'm having in the next episode, so hopefully you'll see that then. So this episode, basically I'm going to be changing the starter motor. I have had a lot of requests to do a starter motor video. So we might as well turn this one into a repair video and also my project repair video. So let's get cracking on. Now, it's not a difficult job to do starter motors on these twin spark engines. It's also pretty much the same job for the 1.9 diesel engines, the 2.4 diesel engines in the 159, 156 GTs, same starter motor as a JTS. So you can pretty much use this as a guide for pretty much most starter motors on any Alfas up until sort of 2008. So to start with any of the Alfas, I'm going to need to remove my intake, and I'm probably going to leave my throttle body on because you do have a reasonable amount of access behind there. So let's crack on and remove this. I'm going to remove it all the way up to there because it'll just make life so much easier, but typically it's a different size. So yeah, this is a job that any DIY mechanic can do. It just means you'll want to get your car quite high up in the air if you can, just to give yourself plenty of room to get to the one bolt underneath. There we go. Pull that to one side, and my phone's ringing. So right, phone call done. I'm going to remove the two top bolts for the starter motor now. I'm not going to show you too much on here because there's not much room to actually get the camera down there, but I do have another engine over there with the starter motor on, and I will show you where the three bolts are in a second. What I use to get these bolts off is a flexible headed ratchet, just like this one, and a 13mm. And that should give you enough leverage to undo the bolts. This is why I normally take the throttle body off, because it gives you a lot more access. But me trying to be cocky, I'm making my job twice as hard for myself, all because I don't want to disconnect the throttle cable. There we go, we're all done now. There we go, that's two out. Now we need to get the car up in the air and move round to the final bolt underneath. You're also at this point now where you'll want to disconnect your battery, because you are going to be messing with the power terminals on the back of the starter motor. Room is a little bit tight. You should be able to see the bolt on the starter motor just there, just above that big bolt. That's the bolt we've got to undo. But we can see if we manage to get our hands up and undo that bolt, we wouldn't have any room to do anything else, such as get the starter motor out. So I'm going to remove the lower gearbox engine mount, and that should give us enough room to get that off. In the very worst cases, we'll need to pull the exhaust down, but I don't want to remove that if possible. So I've just had a quick look underneath it, see how everything's holding up. It's not doing too badly actually. There's loads of leaves and grass underneath the car from where I have been going through these puddles, but generally it's holding up pretty well. There are a few areas of rust coming back again, a few at the front of the arches and a couple of little spots on the floor pan, but generally it's not too bad. So it shouldn't, well, I might have to a little fettle with the rust spots as well when I'm under here. Ratchet isn't the best, I don't have much movement. Oh, cramping my hands. Right, that's all 3 bolts out now. What we need to do is remove the 2 connectors on the starter motor. I will show you all this next once I've got the starter motor out on a one which is off the car. Normally you can remove the starter motor wires first, or you can pull the starter motor to a little bit of a better angle where you can see. So I'm just going to move it around a little bit and then hopefully we can just crack these nuts off. See, with the starter motor turned round, it can give you a little bit more access to get in and undo stuff. We just need to wiggle it through this little tiny hole. There's all wires in the way here, so I'm still going to get it out. There's the power steering pipe which is in the way. Just getting past that, we might be cooking on gas. There we go. One broken starter motor. Here we are with the starter motor now. As you can see, that's the bottom bolt that I've undone. You got one electrical connection here for the main power, and then the signal is just behind there. And you've got 2 more bolts on top. You've got one there, and then one behind it, if you can just see that to the back there. This one typically is missing the bottom starter motor bolt because that's the hardest one to undo a lot of the time. So a lot of people don't put it back in, but I never normally have any problem putting the bolts back in. So let's get this spare starter motor off now, and at least you can see a little bit better what I'm doing in this one. Alright, let's get these bolts off then. There we go, let's get this one back on the car. Now, there's not much room here for me to film much while I wedge it back into place. I couldn't even get enough light up there, even if I could get my GoPro into a proper spot. So, not going to film this bit. I will jump to the part where we are doing up the bolts at the top. Right, I've now put all the electrical connections on. I've put the bottom bolt in, just screwed it finger tight. Now I'm going to put the top 2 bolts in. Only do the bolts finger tight, because otherwise by the time you come to put the last bolt in, you'll have no movement to get it in. So there we go, they're all finger tight now, so let's tighten it up. Right, that's all the bolts underneath. Now let's get the engine mount back on. Everything's now back together. Double checked all the bolts are tight, torqued them all up. You will also need to reconnect your battery terminal, that's the one easy to forget. So now we should hopefully have a starting working 145 again. Yay, she lives again. So one job done. Let's turn the car off now. So there we go, that's how you do a starter motor on pretty much a twin spark engine and also the 2 litre JTS engines on the GT. You can pretty much use this guide for the diesels as well, because all the bolts are in the same place. Maybe on the diesels it's probably easier to remove the bottom exhaust pipe than it is to remove the engine mount, and it'll give you a little bit more room. If you have any questions about how it's done, let me know. I know that this video isn't probably one of the best for seeing things on how to do it, because it's underneath the car in dark pitch black. You can't see how it's done, so I've tried to do it as best as I can, but there's definitely no light and no room to get cameras up in there. So yeah, if you like what you see, please give it a like, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to support my channel, you can either head over to Patreon and sign up there, or just give me a call, book your car in for a service or some repair work. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.